All right. Good morning, everybody. Uh, can you guys hear me?
Yep, Kenny.
All right.
It's
Uh,
Ron. I can hear you.
Thank you. All right. Uh, Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. My name is Mike McNally. I'm a section chief with the Wisconsin Department of Safety and Professional Services, located within the Division of Industry Services. I am located out of the Waukesha Regional Office. Joining me today is Etta Stry, who is our Program and Policy Analyst within the Division of Industry Services, as well as Craig Mulder, who is one of our electrical inspectors covering the northeast part of the state of Wisconsin. Joining us on the phone is the 5 bidders of the Commercial Electrical Permitting and Inspecting Services contract. That is BTS, REM, Safe Built, General Engineering, and Badger State. Now, we have a number of people on the call today. I'm not going to go over all of their names. However, today's meeting is virtual. We are using the Microsoft Teams application to conduct today's meeting. So myself and Etta and Craig will be sharing our screens, so have a little bit of bouncing around. However, at any point in time, you guys can certainly ask us any questions. The microphones are open. You can certainly ask us a question. Also, on top of that, there is a chat feature within the Microsoft Teams app that you can certainly type in your question. We will try and monitor those questions as time goes on here. Today's meeting is from 8 a.m. to about 10:30. We don't anticipate it's going to take the full 2.5 hours. However, we're leaving. We did that in case you guys had any questions for us. Now, today's meeting is just to go over the high-level overview of the eSLA system, and it's not to discuss anything about the contract. The contract is in the process of getting signed. The intention is to have the contract effective date of March 1st, 2021. That's the date in which the 5 contractors will start processing permits on behalf of the department. Now, again, this meeting is using the Microsoft Teams application. I ask that you please mute your microphones if you are not speaking or don't have a question. We want to make sure we're mitigating the amount of background noise for myself as well as Craig and Etta when we are showing you guys the eSLA system. Now, going over the agenda for today, we're going to first talk a little bit about the eSLA system, and that is the acronym for the Electronic Safety and Licensing Application. We're going to talk about the 2 individual portals for that application. We're going to talk a little bit about the public view and what the customer sees, as well as diving in a little bit into the back office, and that's pretty much majority of where you guys are going to live every day. And that's where you're going to actually see how permits are done, how records are done, reviewing an application, conducting an inspection, as well as communicating with the individual applicants. Then for the next item, we'll talk a little bit about eSLA technical support, and I'll dive into a little bit about that when we get to that point, as well as discuss a little bit about tomorrow's training, where we're actually going to get you guys into a pre-production environment. I'll talk a little bit about what you'll be expected to see tomorrow in terms of job aids and resources and guidelines to help you out with your job. And then we'll round out with any questions or concerns that you guys might have. So before we actually start diving into the actual electronic safety and scene and license application, I'll just pause here and see if you guys have any questions before we begin. All right, hearing none, Etta, can you share your screen and take over?
Sure. All right, so is that viewable? Can you see that?
Yep.
Can you see my
I can
screen?
see it.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, you might want to put it in presentation mode.
Yeah, I'm a little worried that it's gonna show the wrong screen. Let's see. I don't know how to. Sorry, I have two monitors, so it wants to tell me which monitor to use for the. Um, let me try again. How's this? Is that full screen mode?
Yep, now we can.
Looks good.
All right. Oh wait, but now I've lost my notes. Okay. All right. So this presentation was originally created for DSPS from the eSLA team, but we've shortened it to just a few key slides so that we can provide some background information on the eSLA system. So the reason behind the move to eSLA was to help DSPS make it easier to do business in Wisconsin and protect its citizens by designing and implementing an innovative and customer-centered solution in an electronic format. So this is the mission statement for the eSLA project. eSLA provides value no matter what your role. So for the customer, there is one electronic place for them to create and edit applications. They can view their application and their permit history on a dashboard, and they can use search functions for existing information. For administrative staff, the process is now electronic. So there's electronic applications, which means less paper. And mandatory fields can help provide accuracy, so there's less follow-up on incomplete applications if something's missing. In a plan reviewer role or an inspector, which is most of your roles, it's a forum for automatic storage and categorization of the applications and requests. And you can also create personalized list views to narrow down any kind of relevant information that you want to see on a daily basis. And for supervisors, which maybe isn't fully relevant to you, but eSLA allows better management of resources and also creates consistency in the process between resources. This slide is a schedule of the programs released and to be released in eSLA. So as you can see, we've released a number of different programs since 2018. Electrical, which is what you're here for, that was launched in January, February 2020, so this time last year. So most of the customers that you're dealing with should be familiar with this, but there are some stragglers that come through that haven't been an eSLA system, so you might have to assist them. Let's see. Doug says we have nothing on your screen. Can you not see my screen?
I
We
can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Doug, can you not see the screen? Is Doug in the Teams meeting?
Yeah, I think he's, I'm not sure. You might want to just, I think I'll just have to keep moving on because I think everybody else can see it.
Okay. Okay, so this is just to let you know that customers have been kind of using eSLA, electrical customers have been kind of using eSLA since this time last year. Here we have a high-level process summary of an electrical application. These steps in green are for the customer. So while they begin an application, the status is pending. And once they've submitted the application, the status turns to submitted. And then that's where you as the inspector or reviewer take over. Your steps are in black here. So when ready, you'll issue the permit, which changes the status of the application to active. While in active status, you complete the inspections as needed, coordinating with the customer, going back and forth however many times needed, and then you close out the permit when it's complete. Fees, DSPS does fees at a different time than what you will be doing fees as a third-party agency. So it's assumed that you're going to do fees at the review application stage. Here you see a screenshot of what we call the back office. This is what Mike mentioned. This is where you're going to do the majority of your work. This is not what the public sees. We'll go over that here in a minute. But it's important to understand some of the key terminology in the back office. We can draw some similarities to Microsoft Excel if you're familiar with that. So that's what this is for down here. But the options at the top, these are called objects. And that would be similar to having separate worksheets in Excel. So kind of like Excel has objects down here, or worksheets down here, objects up here. Each object contains different types of records, which we'll go over. There's permit records, view records, contact records, a plethora of different kind of records. And then within a record, you have fields and values. All right. That was just kind of the background of eSLA, why we have it, and how it's used. The next thing we want to do is kind of take you through what the customer sees, and you're going to be doing a little bit of customer service for customers having issues with eSLA. So I kind of want to give you just a little tour of what the customer sees when they log in. So DSPS homepage, this has a link right at the top for eSLA, for customers to get to eSLA. If you're familiar with the electrical page, which is where I spend a lot of my time, programs, electrical and lighting, takes you to the lighting page, and it's the same eSLA link here. This is where customers can easily get to eSLA sign-in. Oh, I did want to mention though, before we jump to that there are eSLA instructions and guidance documents on the electrical page. Those are located here. The first two are instructions for submitting an electrical application in eSLA. They include screenshots. I'll just open one up real quick. They include screenshots and notes and directions, and it really just walks the customer through how to do it. When you do your practicing in eSLA, you might choose to use some of these just to get a feel for how it works. But they're really, really helpful for the customer. There's also this user guide. This is a narrative format with general instructions. It doesn't, it has step-by-step, but it doesn't have screenshots. It's more narrative. And it's for different tasks within eSLA, like account setup or viewing permit history, submitting service requests, which is also very helpful. The last one is something that won't be applicable for projects within your jurisdiction, but this is a fee calculator for DSPS applications. Okay, so you click on that link, it takes you to this login page for the customer. The right side is for existing customers. They've been logged in, they've got an established account. They can log in here. The left side is for customers that have never been in eSLA. So just real quick, when eSLA was created, certain information was brought over from old systems and imported into eSLA. And because of this, some customer information is already in the system, even though the customer has never actually logged in or quote unquote created a login. Sometimes customers have troubles creating a login because of this, because the system wants to match existing information with new information. So if anything that the customer is entering when they're creating an account here doesn't exactly match what's already been entered, they have problems. So we can help you through that or show you how to fix that. So I'm having troubles logging into eSLA, so I'm just gonna jump forward to this dashboard here. And I just want to give you a little tour. So this is what the customer will see when they log in for the first time. This top half is for permits, active and closed status. And the bottom half is for applications. This would be anything in a pending status or withdrawn status. Generate fees, which we kind of went over quickly. That's something that the customer will see when they do DSPS applications. That's not something they'll see when they do applications for you. So the active permits in this top section here, they have an options feature, and this option will let them print permits, submit additional documentation, and there's also an inspection feature. This could let the customer notify you that they are requesting an inspection. But I think this feature will be different depending on the specific process that you use to conduct inspections. I know some of our inspectors at DSPS prefer a phone call, so this wouldn't be used. They would call the inspector. The options for pending applications are a little different because application is pending, it isn't submitted. So here, this is when a customer had started an application but didn't finish it. And they can go in later and they can finish. I don't know if that says generate fee. If there's one that says pending, the options will say to edit and submit. That means to go back in and complete the application and submit it. They can also withdraw the application. And this is something that, let's say a customer started an application for a project and then learned that they were no longer going to continue the project. That might be a situation where they withdraw an application. They no longer want to go forward with it. Or maybe this was a new application they started and they've made so many mistakes, they just kind of want to get rid of it. And what they would do is choose the withdraw application, and that would send a request to you to withdraw the application in the back office. That's something that you would have to go in and specifically change the status of the application in the back office from pending to withdrawn. All this does for the customer is request it. Okay, so that's the dashboard. This link up here, we'll kind of talk about these ribbons up here. This dashboard, if you're anywhere else in the customer portal, clicking dashboard brings them back to this page. Inspector lookup, this is for customers when they need to identify which DSPS inspector is assigned to their county. They just choose the county, choose the program area, and it'll list the inspector. Public lookup. This is a feature for searching credential numbers. And I just want to give a caveat here that not all of the credentials and license have moved to eSLA yet. So this isn't a complete list. This is just for the credentials that are existing in eSLA. This yellow button, it's kind of obvious with the shopping cart, but it's for paying fees. We talked about this a few times, but this is not something that your customers are going to be using. They're going to pay fees to you outside of eSLA. And then clicking on the name gives you a couple different options. This is where the customer can make changes to their contact information, or that's where they can manage their business and organization profile. Each applicant, we'll go over this tomorrow when we step through what an applicant does, but each applicant must identify their business and organization in the application. This is used to associate applicants with businesses or municipalities, and that's important because there may be multiple applicants within one organization, and that way it just kind of keeps eSLA organized with a parent-child relationship of contacts and applicants within a business. We'll jump back to dashboard. And the last thing I want to go over are these tabs. So these tabs at the top are where you can view your history. And this is where you can view a summary of different types of history. You can, with this option here, choose if you want to look at your summary of payments, summary of service requests. Any of these options are available here. This is also where you can start a new application. So by clicking this, it just brings you straight to the first page of the application process. And we're going to go over this in more detail tomorrow. So that's our quick tour of the customer dashboard. I'm just going to pause for any questions before I jump to the back office. All right. When you log into the back office, this will, well, this isn't your homepage. When you log into your back office, it'll take you straight to your homepage. Mine looks like this. I think it might look a little different for each person, depending on how you customize it and which features you use most often. Before we talked about your objects, those are listed up here. And if you're looking for something that doesn't show up here, you would just click this plus button. And this takes you a list to all of the objects in eSLA. There's a lot, and you won't use most of these. I don't use most of these. The one that you're going to be using the most is called Plan Review and PTOs. That's up here. And this might be what it looks like when you first click on it. I think this might be like recently used or something in eSLA. I'm not sure what this list is, but you can filter it. So that's what this bar up here is for. And you can filter and refresh to see a specific set of permit and applications. This is also how you're going to create customized work lists. So there's a number of existing views, all of these. The electrical, we think the ones that are specific to electrical start out with that. So if you want to see all of the pending electrical permits, you would click that, say go, and it'll filter out. And this is all 272 pending electrical permits in the eSLA system. To create your own specific view, you would use this hyperlink up here. It says create new view. And here you would title it, and this is where you would choose your filters and then your fields to display. This is like your columns. You press save, and then it shows up. You have some other options about who it's visible to. And then then this view will show up in this list here. So if you, I think all of our inspectors, the DSPS inspectors, have a view specific for their project. So they use filters and fields that show up that are specific to their project. So they can just choose the view, click go, and then it'll show them a list of their current projects. Well, I think that's all I wanted to go through. Craig will go into more detail about the different types of records in eSLA.
All right, thank you, Ada. Is there any questions before we have Craig dive in? All right, Craig, you want to share your screen?
All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. As Adam mentioned before, this is your homepage in the back office. This is what, when you log in, what you're going to see. As she also mentioned, most of the work is going to be under the Plan Review PTO tab object. So the customer, basically, customer is going to submit a permit. It's going to show up here. You can see this is my submitted permits. It's going to show up in your work list, or actually, let me back up here. Yeah, we don't have any new, oh, there we go. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like. Is customer is going to submit a permit. It's going to be in the this stage. There's a number here. It's a DIS number. That's just an application number. It's not the permit number at this point. So I'm just trying to figure out, where are we on our agenda, Mike? I just don't want to get ahead of myself if there's anything I'm missing.
Oh, sorry, I had my mic mute.
Oh.
probably want to talk about number 5 on the agenda.
Number 5.
Yep.
Okay. So this is, we'll just click on this. So you have a submitted permit in there, the application number. These are all quick links, so you can just click on that application number, and it'll bring you to that submitted permit. Now, wait a few seconds here. Once it loads, there's the easiest way I find to navigate in here is all these quick links. So all these quick links are listed in here down below. But I find the easiest way to navigate is just use these quick links. All the inspections, the fees are all listed up here, payments. So all the records for a permit application are under this parent record. So the inspections are under this parent record. Everything is under this parent record. So this is the electrical permit. So again, quick links, I use them a lot. You can just click on it and it'll bring you down the page to that specific quick link that you chose. To change statuses, excuse me. You can do it several ways. There's the little edit button here on the side. I always just double or triple click, and it, you can, when you do have to change the status, you can just do it that way. So this has kind of got me jumping around. Attach a letter, or we want to get into that already, Mike, or is that?
No, I think we could probably skip that for tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
And the email and stuff too. So I'm going to jump down to the contact record. So this applicant is the contact. So if we just click on that contact, that'll bring us to the contact information. Again, it'll have all the permits that this applicant has submitted with DSPS fees. So it's just all the information about the actual applicant, phone number, email address, permit applications, everything for that applicant. Now this is just for that applicant. This isn't for that for that permit we just looked at. This is, this applicant might have multiple permits. And a feature that I use a lot is these recent items on the left-hand side here. So this is the application we just came from. So I just use that a lot to get back to where I was before. You can use the back button, but sometimes it's just best to use use your recent items. So reviewing an application, there is a review tab up here. So when you have a DAS number, a submitted application, it's not an active status, as you can see, it's just submitted. So what we do when we review an application is sometimes an applicant might send it in and it's for a 1- and 2-family dwelling, or addition and alteration to a 1- or 2-family dwelling. So we scroll down and all of the questions that the applicant answered on their application can be found right here. So I just go down, look at, they're supposed to provide a complete description of the work. So if I see something here that talks about a house or 1- or 2-family, that throws up a red flag for me, because this is only for farms, public buildings, places of employment, those types of things. So I just do a quick review of the questions that they submitted. The eSLA is and I think it works pretty well. We also can check the master electrician number here, but that's automatic. It's supposed to verify that the number they provided is an active credential. So just a quick review of the questions to make sure that this application is actually should have been submitted. And once we do that, we can go up to the review tab, just hover over it, move over to the review number. And this is the review record that is for this permit application. Now, if I reviewed it, I saw everything was good. Move over to pending. Just double or triple click on it. Move to approved. And I always put the date on there that I completed the review, and a little calendar will pop up with the date. So I just click on that. So status is approved, completed date, and we save it. Take a few minutes here, or a few seconds. There we go. Now you'll see that the DIS number is gone, and now we have an active permit. So we can click on that, and we'll go back to the permit record. It's the same record. It's just that the number has changed because it's an approved permit, and you'll see the status is changed from active, from submitted to active, and then the substatus is pending inspection. In this case, this was you can see it's PPPRO, so it's permit and plan review only. So in this case, they probably have submitted plans, and those submissions, those are called submissions. They can be found here. So if you want to, if it is the plan review, this is the page where you could find the link. We use Bluebeam. Etta knows a lot more about Bluebeam than I do. But so they'll submit the plans using Bluebeam, and then we can click on this link to review the plans. Again, so then the customer would contact you to do an inspection. There's an inspection record now. Once you approve this in the review like we just did, it automatically creates an inspection record. It doesn't look like. Huh, it did not create an inspection record. I'll take you to. I'm in production now. This is production. So I'll just go through it here. This is one that just got submitted this morning. Scroll down, I look at the project name. Looks like it's a gas station or something like that. I know this customer. I know they have the master electrician. Just check wiring new fuel equipment at a gas station. Yep, that would be something that they would need a permit for. So I just go over to the review. Change it to approved, completed date, and save it. So now we have the permit number. It changes the status from submitted to active, substatus of pending inspection, and you can see here it automatically created an inspection record. So that inspection record is underneath this this permit record. So the customer calls, I go out, do the inspection. I come back when I get a chance in office, and this is the inspection record here. So everything was good. I can change this inspection record to approved, and I'm not going to save this right now, but I put in the inspection completed date, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but this is pretty important for when you run reports, correct?
Yeah, plus I think it will not allow you to save it unless there's an inspection completed date too.
Okay. So we put down the date the inspection was completed. if there's an ongoing inspection, or there's going to be subsequent inspections, it'll automatically change the type to electrical ongoing inspection. So.
And just pause here real quick, Craig. Make sure that the inspector name is listed too.
Oh, yeah, right here, inspector name. So if you don't see your name here or your company's name here, you would have to put that in, because that's important. I think, Mike, when you run reports too, you do that on using that inspector name component.
Correct.
So, in the inspection record page, there's a couple types of electrical inspections. There's a final, there's the initial, so the first inspection, and then there could be multiple ongoing inspections within an inspection record. So again, final is the final. If you choose final from this drop-down list and then change your status to approved and save it, it will close out the permit. So don't choose final inspection until you know that's the last inspection you're going to be conducting for that particular project. There's another one status here we use for special because of the governor's emergency rule that allows affidavits in certain situations. If we're doing that, we use the special inspection type. As far as statuses of the inspections, excuse me, there's really only a few that we use. We use approved if there's nothing wrong, if there's no issues, you didn't encounter any code violations or anything. It's going to be pending until you do a first inspection. And we also use it in violation. So if you have a number of violations that you have for that particular project, you can choose the in violation status and save it. I think those are basically the only ones we use to prove the in violation. Pending is an automatic status that comes in when the application was approved. There's a comment section here. So if you have a number of violations, there's a couple ways you can record them. You can just record them in the comments here and save it, or you can do it via notes and attachments. So you would just do a new note. You could put a title on it and then just record your violations in the body here. Okay, applicant communication. Once we do an inspection, or sometimes we might request additional information, there's a send email to applicant tab at the very top here. We can just click on that. All the affiliations that are that the customer put in for this permit or this application are listed here. You should be automatically included in the email, so you don't have to click yourself if you see your name there. But you can just click on, excuse me, the affiliation there, and hit continue. And then this is the, there's a number of templates that you can use to save you time from typing out, and it will pull in the details from the application. So you see it pulls in the application number. There is a bug out there. I don't know where it's at, Mike, right now, for pulling in more information into this email template. Do you know where that is? Like, it's going to pull in the permit and the address of the project and all of that.
Yeah, I know it's being worked on,
Okay.
but I don't know where it's at.
We're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So that's just a quick overview of how to send an email. And we do emails. We don't send out any. I don't send out any letters or anything. It's just the email. So go back to the applicant page. Okay. I'll go back to the email. You can attach files too if you do want to send a letter out with the email. So that will have to be downloaded to your computer, your desktop. But you can, there's a way to attach files here. Choose the file, click attach, done, and it will attach a file to that email. Okay, that was just a quick overview of how the process works in the back office. You want control back, Mike?
Yeah, I guess before we dive into that, are there any questions?
I think for everybody, one thing you'll find is that I know this is a brief overview and there'll be some more stuff, but once you're in the system, you're going to have to go in and play around with it a little bit just to get familiar and comfortable like any new software.
It appears we have a question. Can you attach pics in an email, in emails?
Yeah, you can attach pictures just like you could attach a Word or document or PDF. You'd have to save it. It has to be on your computer, and then you would have to attach it that way. But yep, you can attach pictures to an email.
All right. I will start sharing my screen here.
One quick question, if I could.
Okay, go ahead.
Looks like I printed out the ESL user manual. It looks like a pretty good job. It's quite a few pages, but it looks like anybody interested, it takes you through it line by line. So it looks pretty nice. That user manual, it's well worth printing out.
Thank you. Looks like we have a couple questions here. What is typical time application to issue? Not sure I fully understand that question.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when a customer submits an application, I have it set up where, I have my submitted permit. So whenever I have a chance, usually in the morning, actually typically for me, it's in the afternoon when I get back in office, I'll go and look, okay, has anybody submitted a permit today? And then I'll go through and review the permits and approve the permit. So it gets submitted automatically. So it's whenever you guys get a chance to go into your work list, or what, for lack of a better term, to review and approve the permit. Once you approve it, it's automatically approved, and they could go on their dashboard and excuse me, print it out if they want to. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Looks like it did. Thank you. All right. I am sharing my screen. Hopefully you guys can see that. Want to talk a little bit about technical support. Just wanted to remind everybody.
There's another question there, Mike.
Is there?
Yeah.
I must have missed it. Oh, the one from Tony?
Mm-hmm.
Will the third-party inspectors conduct plan reviews if requested? If yes, what is the fee? Yes, they will be doing plan reviews if the customer requested a plan review. And then, of course, the plan review fee is what the fees were established by contract for the third-party inspector. All right, so moving on to, I just want to bring this up just as a reminder out of section 3.2.2 of the RFB, where it outlines the requirements of the third-party inspectors to perform customer service. And I'll bring that up here on the screen. Under 3.2.2 is where it outlines the requirements of the contractor to provide and assist the customer help with the eSLA system. Now, I'll dive into this a little bit more at the next part of our agenda item, but the assistance the first line of defense is you guys as the third-party inspectors. You guys are there to assist the customers by providing them help with anything associated with setting up their account or adding a business account or obtaining a security code, assisting the customer with the use of their dashboard, or even help with filling out the permit. Now, Etta talked a little bit briefly about this, and we'll go into a little more detail tomorrow, but there is information out there on our website, and we did provide some links within the RFB for customer information, which allows you guys to certainly provide this information directly to the customer. It outlines the eSLA system itself for some of the stragglers out there, as Etta indicated that some of our contractors aren't even in eSLA yet. And this is a good guide for you to send them information about the eSLA system, how to set up their account, how to add a business, and of course, support mechanisms for them. In addition to that, there is also on our webpage, which Etta did point out, there is some user guides here that you guys can certainly submit to customers to help them with just filling out a permit. There is also a user guide, which Etta did indicate that is narrative. There isn't any pictures, but it is a good user guide. And so there is a handful of information already out on our website that you guys can use to submit directly to customers who have any problems or issues with the eSLA system. Now, in addition to that, obviously we all know that there's always going to be these case-by-case scenarios and situations or particular applications, like Craig mentioned, that maybe they have a PV on a dwelling system, or they have some kind of weird situation or thing that you're just not sure how to help them out. Maybe not necessarily with eSLA, maybe it is about eSLA, but we also have our DSPS electrical consultants as well. And there is a link that takes you directly right to our individual map that lists all of our electrical consultants that cover the whole state. We have their email addresses here as well as their phone numbers. Now, some of you are probably already pretty familiar with our other electrical consultants of Tony Tadasek and Steve Rasmussen. They cover all of our electrical permitting and inspecting, petitions for variance, as well as consultation services throughout the entire state. So you can certainly contact them if you have a certain situation that you need help with, helping with a customer. And then finally, as the contracted authorized representative for DSPS, you can certainly contact me as well. My email address is there. I did have in my signature block in the emails that I sent to all of you guys. My phone number is there as well. You can certainly contact me at any time. All right. Moving on to the next. Before I move on, any questions? All right.
There's a question.
Oh, is there? Okay.
If a customer asks for a permit fee, is there a fee schedule?
The fee schedule would be something that you guys would provide to the customer, because you guys have submitted your fees as part of your bid for the contract, so those fees are already established. So you can certainly submit that fee schedule directly to the customer. Does that answer your question? It appears it did. All right. All right. Moving on to tomorrow's presentation. I did send an email out to everybody, which has sort of a prelude for tomorrow's training session. We have an agenda for tomorrow, and I'll just kind of briefly go over the agenda for tomorrow. We are going to actually go and do a further deep down dive of kind of what Craig was showing you guys in terms of, or Craig and Etta was showing you guys in terms of how a customer actually creates a permit application. We're going to then review the application as well as conduct some inspections and close out the permit. We have two different permits options for the customer. We have a permit only. Those are just applications where they're just asking for a permit. And of course, we have a permit and plan review only, which is those applications where a customer is asking for a permit, as well as a plan review associated with that permit. And again, we're going to go over by creating an application for the as a customer, and then reviewing that application in the back office by conducting inspections and closing it out. In addition to that, we're going to go over some of the job aids for you guys, which I did append to that email, and I'll briefly talk about those here in a second, as well as discuss how we're going to get you guys access to the system and do basically play around with the application itself. We have two different types of environments. Craig alluded to this a little bit. We have what's known as a pre-production or pre-prod, you'll hear that term, a pre-prod environment, which allows you guys to go in there and enter a whole number of permits and approve those permits, and you can't break the system. It's impossible to break it. It's meant to be an environment for you to play around with it and get used to it and become accustomed to it. And then, of course, we have the production environment, which is, like the word says, it's the actual production. It's the live version of the eSLA system. And then we'll sort of talk a little bit about huddles, and I'll briefly talk about that tomorrow, where we're going to set up 5 days of additional training for you guys to come in and ask us any questions or concerns you have with training or working in the pre-production environment. Now, as far as some of the job aids, and I encourage you to start looking at these for tomorrow's presentation. We have a user guide for you guys on how to actually create some permits in the pre-production environment and how you actually put on two hats. And these are called personas, where you're putting on a customer hat, you're going in there, creating an application, and then, of course, you then change hats to your inspector hat, and then you go in there into the back office and approve those permits and conduct those inspections. In addition to that, we also have the job aid that was actually located in the RFB, and this is where you'll probably use this job aid for quite some time until you guys become accustomed to actually going in there and approving permits and conducting inspections. The job aid was put together by ETA, as well as reviewed by our electrical staff. The application or the job aid shows you snapshots and pictures of the actual eSLA system, which has been highlighted for you. So it's a good job aid for you guys to go line by line, step by step, and do your actual reviewing of permits, approving a permit, and conducting inspections, as well as closing out a permit. In addition to that, we also have an additional job aid, which both Etta and Craig kind of talked a little bit about customizing the eSLA system to your particular, some odd reason it's not opening, to customize the eSLA system to provide you an option to create individual views or job lists or work lists, where it allows you to actually filter the number of permits that are coming in the door based on your individual county assignments. It also allows you to enter individual columns of views that you want to see, as well as moving columns around to help you guys do your job more efficiently. Now, I'm not going to go over line by line of all these job aids today. I will probably go a little bit high level tomorrow, but I'm just previewing this so that you guys can have an opportunity to take a look at these job aids before we actually dive into the minutia details tomorrow. All right. Any questions before I move on? All right, so that concludes today's training. Today's training was just a high-level overview of the eSLA system, just to give you kind of a snapshot of some of the things that you'll be doing in the system, as well as what kind of views the customer will be seeing. Any questions? I don't see any in the chat window either. Nope. All right. I appreciate everybody's time and look forward to tomorrow's meeting, where we'll go into a little further detail about the eSLA system. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.